Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into United Front, the only trusted source in New Mexico United, USL, and New Mexico Runners news and notes. My name, of course, is Seth Bidoff. Joining me this evening, the one and only Jacob Terrell. Jacob's here. We got some folks over in chat already. Justin and Andrew. I did see Andrew brings up a question here. This is something that I don't know if you saw today. But apparently the USL put out their League One teams or their divisions, and the U23s are not there.
It's on the agenda, Seth.
It is, and we're gonna get into that. I caught that, and Andrew's bringing it up already in chat. So I mean, it's an interesting point. We will get into it. Justin, we did flip slides. Not intentional. It's just a matter of who gets here first. Well, there we go. See,
happy.
Yeah. No, Jacob was in here messing around before I even logged on, and I logged on like 45 minutes ago. So,
dedication, baby, dedication.
Exactly.
All for this. all for that shield.
That's what we do. That's what we do for you guys, just for you. We love to give you guys quality content, and we do work hard. We do work hard to try to make sure we have quality conversations.
Sometimes. Depends on the week. But this week, dedication.
Dedication. There you go. Absolutely. Jacob, I wanted to ask you, obviously we're coming off one of the biggest weekends in the sporting world. I'm sure you watched.
You're talking about USL preseason, right?
Obviously, the USL Championship preseason started last week, including the New Mexico Uniteds out in Tucson, Arizona. We'll get to that here, but I mean, there was a tiny event, in New Orleans over the weekend. A couple thousand people showed up. I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know if you caught this at all. But I think it was a kind of a one-sided affair. It didn't seem all that interesting. Did you watch any of this thing called the Superb Owl Super Bowl? Is that it?
Oh, you can't say Super Bowl. We'll get in trouble.
Yeah.
I did. It was first we have a couple guests. These boys don't make very many appearances, but this is Xander. Say hi, Xander.
Hi.
And
Hi,
Zeke.
Xander. Hi, Zeke.
You guys say hi. All right, I'll go to bed. Thank you, guys. They wanted to come say hi this time.
There we go.
Yeah, I watched it. It was the game itself, pretty blah. Philly kind of kicked their ass. So congrats to David Weese-Carl celebrating a title for the first time in a few years as a Philly fan. So, and then, I mean, Josh says the Kendrick concert halftime show I thought was good. It was fairly simple for once. Not a lot of wardrobe changes and left shark and right shark. And
I will say some of those camera shots, so that was pretty cinematic.
Very cinematic. Very cinematic. So yeah.
That concert did make the rounds on social media. I don't know if you caught that or not.
Yeah. We had another couple over that has a kid in Xander and Lily's class. And so after it got out of hand, we just talked to them and hung out and had a good time. And so yeah, it was good. It's always an event. I think I've watched every Super Bowl but one, and all but probably two have been at a party. I've gone to a party or at least had some kind of social interaction. So that's what it was about for me. And I would like the Chiefs to have won. As I mentioned last week, I'm a Kansas City. My wife's from Kansas City, and so I root for them, but didn't really affect me all that much. And the only thing I will say is I had squares. I had Philly 0, Kansas City 4. Kansas City scored in the last 3 minutes or so, went for 2, made it 0-4, and I was super excited to win some money. And then Philly put in Kenny Pickett, and then of course Mahomes gets a bomb to Worthy there at the end to screw me out of some money. That was the most emotion I felt all night. But yeah.
Christina is with us now. Christina, how are you? Did you watch the Superb Owl on Sunday?
I sure did not. I watched the halftime, and that was worth my time, but I couldn't have cared less about the football.
Okay,
At
fair
least
enough.
not American football.
Although
I
enough,
was
I
kind
was
of
going to
secretly
ask.
rooting for the Eagles. I was happy to see that the Eagles were doing well.
Yeah, certainly a lot of people. And I talked to David Weisecrawl yesterday, and I asked him if he was hungover. He said no, but he certainly enjoyed it. So yeah, big win for the Philadelphia Eagles. I did see, however, that Eagles fans still destroyed the city of Philadelphia after the fact. So, I did want to ask, because every year the commercials are a topic of conversation after the fact. I felt like this was a very poor year for commercials, especially when you have a dancing tongue. It was a very, very odd commercial. Did either of you see this one?
I don't remember a dancing tongue.
I didn't see it, but I heard of it. Was it Carnation or no?
What? Coffee Mate.
Yeah, Coffee Mate. It was enough to where, like, when I did hear, people were like, "Yeah, I can't drink that anymore." Like, it gave them the ick.
I do remember that one, actually.
That was one of the weirdest commercials I've ever seen, and Seal who thought to greenlight that?
Seal as a Seal was probably my favorite. And then was it Tubi that had that cowboy hat?
Oh, that was weird too.
A lot of strangeness going on. Like, bring back the polar bears and the
Budweiser frogs
and the Budweiser frogs and to where it's like simple. Like, half the commercials, I was like, what are we advertising for here, people? And so, and then there's always like the sentimental ones. But honestly, so I've got 4 kids, as you know. The couple that came over has 2 kids. So we had 6 kids under the age of 8 running around my little double wide. And so commercials were not able to fully pay attention to most of the time.
Yeah, no, I agree. Fortunately, my boys both were interested for the most part. My older son, Alex, he sat down and watched the entire game with me. Logan watched most of it before wandering off to play video games, which is fine. But yeah, watching some of these commercials, like, I just bring back the Taco Bell dog if you have to. Like, even the E-Trade babies, like, I don't care. Like, bring them back. But some of these commercials, even the Dunkin' Donuts one,
yeah, it was
was terrible. That was terrible. If you go on social media, like if you go on TikTok, there's like a 30-second commercial with Jay and Silent Bob in it. Mm-hmm. That's it. Leave it at that. Done. Perfect. Right? That's all you need. You don't need all the other stuff. Like, that was just, it was too much. And honestly, like, I was done. I was done with it, by about the third quarter. I'm done with the whole thing. But, ended up watching it. And the scoreline obviously a lot closer than the way that game played out. But yeah, no, I mean, NFL offseason is here, I guess, for about 3 weeks, and then you got the draft. So
yeah.
I mean, NBA All-Star game is this weekend. MLB preseason for spring training starts in like 2.5 weeks. So, I mean, I think pitchers and catchers are reporting this week. So, I mean, there's lots of stuff going on. And all of it is secondary to the USL Championship.
Exactly.
And it is.
Exactly.
And, we talked to Coach Dennis Sanchez last week. If you haven't checked that out, please go look. Please go give it a listen. It is already one of our highest listened to episodes of all time. It's available on all major podcast platforms. It's also on YouTube, and go check out the video there as well.
And if you go watch that one, then you should go back a couple more weeks to the Itamar interview as well, because both of those, I think, were really, really good, really, really insightful. And again, we hope to have them on again throughout the season if we can make that happen. And so, yeah, please do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Go check them out. And I think Coach gave us a pretty good look ahead as to, what he was wanting to do tactically. And we finally got to, quote unquote, see it play out over the past week. Yeah, quote unquote, see it play out.
Christina got to interview for the first time last week too. Go check it out for that. Should be good.
Christina was incredible last week. So,
kicked off the
go
training
check it out.
wheels.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah,
Pushed you
absolutely.
straight into the fire.
But yeah, so we had 3 preseason matches out in Tucson. We had one that was a 0-0 snoozer, apparently. We had a second one that ended up in a 2-2 draw, and a third one in which United came out on top 3-0.
Against a college team, just a preference.
Was against the college team. To be fair, the college teams are getting into their season now.
Mm-hmm.
So, they're probably more in form than most other clubs would be at this point. So, Jacob, let's get into it. Obviously, the first match 0-0. We don't know a whole lot. We know Redacted played quite a bit. And Redacted had quite a few showings over the past week. Talk to us a little bit about what the club did put out over the past couple of days on social, keeping us up to date with the preseason matches.
I want to say I was so thrilled to see that they skeeted the matches on Blue Sky.
Wait, okay, time out.
Overjoyed.
Time out. We were just talking about this before you came on. And I told Seth that's what it was called when you post on Blue Sky. Where did you hear that term from?
I think on Blue Sky.
Okay, cool. So we're on the same page there. We can't help but think of a early aughts rap song when we hear Ski did it, but yeah, okay. I didn't realize that they did it there too. Now there wasn't a whole lot. Obviously, the first match 0-0. They put out some lineups. They put out some subs. That's about it. Loose City put out a little bit more about some chances here and some chances there. Overall, not a lot to go off of the Loose City match. That was on Wednesday of last week. Then Friday of last week, we play Colorado Springs. That one's a little more exciting, a 2-2 draw. Don't know. Oh, man. The chat is having some fun with that one. 2-2. We have one goal highlight that United from. So all of these videos that I'm going to pop up are from the New Mexico United social media. Some highlights that they put up. So this is newcomer Mackenzie Gaines drawing a penalty and then taking the penalty. Read into that what you will. And he converts the penalty. And I got to say, I like his form. So here's that clip. Oh, no. Let me back it up. This is just there we go. So beats his guy here pretty cleanly, gets dragged down. Already exciting to see him being able to do that off the dribble. Little stutter step, but then once he gets into it, finishes it. We have a face here. Right there underneath the arm, talking to the Colorado Springs player. I've been trying to find out who this man is for literally weeks. And cannot figure it out yet. But I will. I promise you I will. I have a few guesses. We'll get into that later. But
there is a name in the chat.
Oh, there is a name. I don't know that name, but we shall see.
I don't either. I'm going to steal your screen here for just a second.
I equally don't know who Space Kid is either, so plot thickens.
No, I don't want him. It could be. It could be. I don't know. I threw out a couple names. Dre Fortune, who was with Las Vegas last year for a few matches. Kind of sort of looks like him. Majib Morana from Miami last year. Kind of thought maybe it was him from a few other videos. So not sure who it is. But no matter who it is, the Gaines play there, drawing that penalty, getting taken down. He already, I think, is kind of proven to be a problem at certain times. And I'm excited for that, for sure. The other goal scored in that 2-2 draw was by Redacted. Not sure which Redacted. That one was also a penalty that was drawn and then converted by said Redacted. And so we'll have to see. David over in the chat, Media Day Thursday. I will be there. Last year, we got to find out who the trialists were, even if they hadn't been announced at Media Day. So you can bet that I will be trying to figure that out and get some names for y'all a little bit earlier than the club announces, anyways. And again, we'll talk about some redacted here in a little bit. 2-2 draw, like I said. We move on to the match against Grand Canyon University, which was the 3-0 win. We have 2 of the 3 goals from that one. Kalen scored in the 90th to make it 3-0. We do not have a video for that one just yet. But in the first half, before a goal was even, you will get, they're going to be there. I'm going to find something out. I will, I think. What's on?
That light keeps flashing. Can I go to yours?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry. So Grand Canyon University, no goals in the first half. We do get a Tambakis PK save. And we get a back view of somebody without a jersey number. I can't. Some of the academy kids don't have jersey numbers either, so it's hard to tell if he's an academy kid or
that was redacted.
Or redacted, exactly. And so nice save there. Good little clip. And then we get 2 goals. One, the first goal being Vargas to Bruce. And so beautiful link-up play here. A little cut back, and then Bruce with a nice finish. It's exciting to see some goals. And then this one, similar play. Bruce dummies it. Vargas hits it off the post, and Gloucester's there to finish it up. So we get a little bit of taste of what's going on. Just a little bit. And so cannot wait for Media Day Thursday so I can actually get a look in person and try to bring you guys some insight. And then, of course, February 22nd, 11 days from now, where we can go watch them actually play a preseason match. And so, all right.
Oh, darn.
I'm not even going to ask David if it's who I think it is, because I know I will get either crickets or a no, even if it's not, or even if I'm right. But yeah, 3 matches. We get a bunch of lineup variations. Seems like a 4-2-1-3, 4-2-3-1 kind of. I don't know. What is happening? Okay.
Yeah. Since David is here, I know he said it earlier, but David, congratulations. I know I talked to you yesterday. Congratulations on your Eagles winning the Super
We already did that. We don't need, he can go back and listen to when he missed out. We already did that. Eagles fans don't need any more kudos. Just kidding, David. Just kidding. So yeah, 3 matches. Did you guys have? I know they didn't put out a whole lot of information. Did you guys see the names and the lists and players here and players there? Did you guys have any thoughts of your own as far as anything from the videos or anything like that, Christina?
I mean, it seemed like they were listing it from back to front. And so it seems like there's a redacted that's playing in the back, and then maybe a couple of midfielder redacteds. It was what I was guessing. I don't know. David Carl says you will't meet any of the redacted on Thursday. Does that mean they didn't make the squad?
or like Justin said, they won't be trialists then anymore, and we'll see. Last year they were pretty open. They were like, yeah, that's Talon Maples. Oh yeah, that's Anthony Herbert. So I'm curious how that's going to go on Thursday. Maybe they'll be wearing masks.
Yeah, there you go.
Borrowed Nikki's mask.
Yeah, Nikki left them behind.
So yeah, Josh does look like Vargas is wearing number 8. Gaines was wearing number 10. Pondeka is wearing 27, I think. And Fernando's wearing 9. I'm pretty sure. And so did get some number information for them at least. Here's here's what I had thought kind of a potential starting lineup could look like. It does seem like where Gloucester's played, there's a redacted that plays in that spot. And then a redacted that plays where Bailey, and then a redacted mid there is at the double pivot type. And then Fernando and Gaines. Gaines I can almost guarantee you is going to be a starter if he works hard and performs good. But his talent is already kind of on display, and I think he can be a real problem for the USL Championship.
He's given me it's like giving a Kale last year. Like I have like really high hopes for him.
Yeah, but he's even like bigger and coming down a level from MLS instead of coming up. I think him and Akale and Fernando both with that speed could be major issues. And then Hurst up top. Now, there can be some changes here. Obviously, Pondeka can kind of play anywhere in the midfield three or out on one of the wings. Yeah, David over here saying McKenzie is fast, which and he seems to have technical skill with the ball. We see him finish the PK, and so I'm super excited about that. Andrew brings up something else. Seymour could very well go defensive mid rather than right back. I have him at right back because we don't really have a right back right now other than him and Jackson Dubois. So I think there's a ton of tweaking that we can do. The three things I feel best about: Tambakis is going to be our number one. I wouldn't be surprised if Shakes gets some more time, but he's going to be our one. Ryden, Maples, and Herbert are going to be the top three center backs, with Seymour and Jackson Dubois probably filling in there a little bit here and there. Gloucester's probably going to be our left back, as he was last year, most of the year. We're going to see plenty of Bailey in the midfield. We're going to see Hurst and Bruce up top. I think Gaines and Fernando on the wings are going to be two of the top options. I think Gaines is going to be the top option. And then Fernando, Akale, Bruce a little bit. There's a few names that we can put over there, but all in all, especially with the redacteds, I think, as Coach mentioned last week, again, if you haven't watched that or listened to it, please go do so. He mentions that the trialists that we have coming in are USL vets, which is why I'm thinking we might not get any info on the trialists Thursday. But all in all, I think it's shaping up. Still think we could use a couple more bodies here and there, but I'm not sure. Seth, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, when I saw the lineups, I agree with what Christina said earlier. It kind of looked like it was they're putting them in formation. So you see the redacteds in there. You see where they're at in the tweets. I do think we're looking at a midfield. I do think we're looking at a defender. Some questions over in chat. Do we think Seymour may go defensive mid? I honestly think Seymour is a better defensive mid or a central defender than a right back, and I don't think he'll play right back all that much.
I don't know, man. He looked really good in the year after Astorga got hurt.
Oh, he did, but I think Will is better centrally than he is outside.
So who's going to play right back? Because even the redacted that's playing on the back line, if they are staying consistent, is playing more on the left than the right.
Mm-hmm.
And so that doesn't mean he couldn't switch, but I don't know. Justin over here with Majib, like I've mentioned, a name that I mentioned earlier as well was Eddie Monjoma from formerly Phoenix, and then last year was with Tampa Bay. Mm-hmm. He plays more left back than right back, so that redacted that's been playing left back could fit, and he has a crap load of minutes in the USL or appearances in the USL. I don't know. I'm not saying it's him or not. Just a name that it could be.
I do agree with David. I do think Will had two of his better performances out on his right back, and I think he did well. I just think that with his age, I don't think he can maintain that for a full 34 match season. I just don't think he can. That's why I think he's better centrally. That's not to say he can't play right back. I think Jackson Dubois gets a few more starts. I think Zico Bailey has the ability to play right back as well. Now, I prefer Zico in the midfield, but
For sure.
I do think that Zico's a shout there as well. And as Dave said, we talked to Inamar and David and Coach. We know there are more players. So I do think we see another redacted or two get signed. And I do think that does push Will more into a defensive mid or a more of a defensive mid role. Because I think with Ryden and Maples or, some sort of pairing there, I don't see Maples coming out. I think that spot is his.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely do.
Not only that, but I see the armband coming.
I would love to see it on Talon. The problem is, how do you take it away from Kalen though? If Kalen's still with the team,
I think
True.
Kalen gets it, but we know
captain?
We've seen Kalen with some injuries. He's also on the older side for soccer players, anyways. And so I think if he's in there, he's the captain. But if he's out, which we saw a lot of last year with an injury early in the season and stuff, then I think it should go to Maples, and maybe not Tambakis. I love Tambakis, but I think Maples more personifies what I want to see out of a captain, from what I've seen on and off the pitch in Kings of Chaos and other videos like that and whatnot. I think Maples would be a fantastic candidate for that. So,
absolutely.
But that being said, that's Maple's spot, man. He's he is staying there. Aside for a match here or match there, he led the league or led the team in minutes played last year with almost 3,000. Had I think over 30 appearances for the club last year. He's a freaking just a stud out there and is going to be out there the majority of the time, barring injury.
Yeah, I agree. And looking at the rest of your lineup there, I think this is a pretty good team sheet. Now, I do think Zico plays better off the right than off the left. So I would flip him, but other than that, I mean, he's that pivot. He's that pivot in the midfield, either in defensive mid, central mid, wherever you want to play him. I think Zico works well anywhere on the right. I do think he's stronger from that direction. Again, that's not to say you can't put him, in this type of formation on the left defensive mid. I think that works for him too. I do like Fernando on the left. We talked about Mackenzie Gaines. I think he looks good on the right. And then with Quelle, as much as I love Quelle out on the wings, I do think him playing more centrally is going to open up some more opportunities for him and for Greg Hurst as well. That's hard though. You look at the roster, you look at the guys we have back. I mean, Brucey could absolutely play that midfield role, that central attacking mid. He could do that. Brucey is such a good distributor. He's such a good creator, and he disrupts in the midfield. He's like a scrawnier Andrew Tenari, if you ask me. But I think Brucey's a far better player than Andrew Tenari ever was. But they do similar things in a sense. They both disrupt. They're pests. Absolutely. And yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's going to be hard to leave anybody out of this 18, but I think what we have here is this is going to be pretty close to a starting 11 right here.
Yeah. And I mean, Pondeka is another name that can play in a bunch of different spots there. Harris, who's on his way back. He's from what I understand, he's not fully ready, but he's there. And then Vargas, Vargas is a player that came on late last year. We've seen him in some clips already making an impact in preseason. He gets the assist to Bruce on Bruce's goal. He hits it off the bar on another one where Bruce dummies it to him. So Vargas is another name that I could see in that Akale spot or playing out on one of the wings. And so I think from that, in that attacking third, I like our depth. I like our versatility. I like the names that we have up there. Really, the kind of holes, as you can tell by the redacteds playing back in that defensive mid or back line, the holes seem to be back there a little bit. But I have no doubt that they'll get addressed, whether it's the redacteds that we've had, or as David says, remember, we're not done signing players. And so there's definitely some tweaks. I remember last year, Hosu didn't come until fairly late in February. And so between visas and if it's a transfer or whatever, we'll definitely see some names coming in that aren't on the redacted list already or on this sheet that you're seeing here. I want to throw a name out at you. We've seen, obviously we saw him. We saw pictures of him in the Brucey pull-up video. I think I saw a picture of him, just his little sideburn area in the Sandia picture. But Sergio Rivas would be a player that fits those defensive mid positions. I heard that he may or may not have been in Arizona with the team. It's possible that one of these redacted midfielders could be him. And then I mentioned Dre Fortune earlier, who was with Vegas or with Sanchez last year in Vegas. And then we've had a few at that left back position, Eddie and Majib. But those are some names that fit what I've heard, fit the redacted positions that we're seeing, and in the videos and clips that we've seen, could or could not be the players that we're thinking of. I think in the which video is it? Let me think. In this video here, the gentleman with no shirt there, that I think could be Dre Fortune, if it's not one of the academy kids, which I don't believe it is. So that's probably a redacted. Could be a bunch of people, but those are some names that I have looked at and kind of thought could or could not be. Seth, do you have any thoughts on who these redacteds could be? Anybody you wish it was? Anything like that?
Well, I certainly don't think it's going to be Sergio Rivas. I can tell you that much.
Really?
Yeah, I really don't think so. Quickly, Harry, how you doing, buddy? Glad to see you.
Team Jacob in the house?
Yes, we are. We're still getting used to United front as well. I don't think it's Sergio. I don't.
Well, I don't know. I mean, they announced the return of two players who they ended up transferring. So why wouldn't they announce one player leaving and being like, just kidding, which they actually did with Vargas. So 2 for 2.
And so my thoughts there.
I just don't see it.
So Sergio comes out, puts the post out there, has surgery. We've seen him training. He's in team garb with the number 7 in those pictures. And then I'm hearing that he was in Arizona. He fits a need with the defensive mid position. I'm not saying it's going to be him, just saying it kind of sort of fits. And so I wouldn't be surprised if it is. That's
Sergio to me is not necessarily a defensive mid though. Like when you look at this lineup, central
right?
mid or a cam, the guy who's going to go box to box, he's not necessarily a defensive mid.
But when you look at this lineup, Seth, so that redacted mid position that I have right there, right? That was Bailey's or Micheletto's position last year a lot of the time. And you had Hosu that kind of worked as the sweeper in front of Rodney Maples. And then that other pivot position was able to roam free. And we saw him in the attack quite a bit. So that's a position that Rivas played quite a bit last year. And so I think it fit. And I personally like when he plays a little bit farther back and then has room to attack on the dribble, because you have these other front 4 drawing people up, and then he's got room to attack on the dribble and then make a play. I don't like him up top as somebody that's going to either expected to finish or expected to make the final pass. I like him to be the pass before the final pass guy or something like that.
I agree with you.
Been my problem with Sergio for a while.
I agree that we've talked about it. He's much better when he can run at people. He is much better off the dribble. He's much better about that. I just think defensively, he's not a good fit for for that because he's not a great defender. He's not. He is, again, he's a box to box guy, someone who you want running at people. We talked about it last year. I said one of his best performances. You see him running at defenders, making them make decisions and turn. That's where he was at his best. I just don't think he fits the defensive mid, the defensive mid that we need.
So don't get me wrong. I don't think he's the one. Like, he's not a Hosu replacement. He's a Sergio Rivas replacement from last year. And so I'm not saying I hope he comes back because I think he's the Hosu replacement. We just have we have two holes there, right? There's there's three redacteds that are being mentioned, right? And so I think he could be one of those two that plays more of a hybrid box to box role. And then the other redacted defensive mid is actually more of a defensive mid, like Dre Fortune, who could be not as good as Hosu was at that, but would fill that Hosu role more than Rivas would for sure. I definitely agree there. I'm just putting pieces together. I'm not saying I like it or not. And we know my thoughts about Sergio Rivas. They've probably been harsher than my thoughts on Gloucester were last season, especially because Gloucester improved, and I don't think Rivas did. And so I've never been the biggest Rivas fan. I'm just saying he could be a name that one of those redacteds ends up being.
It could be. And to be fair to Sergio, knowing what we know now is about his health situation last year, it does explain a lot. It does explain, away a lot of the lack of performance that we saw out of him.
For sure.
But I think we can all agree he certainly was not the same Sergio that we saw in 2023.
I mean, I don't know. I've been pretty harsh since he came here, so I think he has been the same Sergio, and the same Sergio is very mid, and I'm not talking about midfield. But that's my opinion. I've followed soccer since 2019. Don't listen to me. That's just what I'm using my eyes and my brain is telling me. This is a great question, Christian.
It is. And Christian, I'll tell you this quickly, if you did not listen to it, go listen to our discussions with Coach and Idamar.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, like I said, we didn't get a lot out of the tweets for the preseason matches, but one was the subs and the lineups, and saw a ton of Academy kid names in there. Including, I think when we scored both of our Colorado goals, it was 4 or 5 Academy names in there at the time. And so good job, Christian. Kudos to that. Christian, you're not Christian that's usually in the chat. You didn't change your name on there, right? You are a new Christian, I believe. Plenty of Academy kid names. I think we can see a couple that kind of like Dubois did last year, where he actually got some minutes out on an Academy contract. I think we can see even more doing that this year, especially with the way that we're adding we're adding in the Jägermeister Cup. Oh, okay. Don't do that to me, Christian. I thought it was you, but I wasn't sure, man. And so I appreciate the name change though, because Moogdef, however you pronounce it, always gave me trouble. Yeah, so I think Academy kids could be a lot bigger this year than they were last year. I think Dubois is obviously not an Academy contract anymore. He's a full-on pro contract now, but I expect him to play decent minutes this year for sure. And then Jay Seiss, Derek Lozano, there's a ton of names out there that I think could potentially see more playing time than even Dubois did last year.
Evan Krenzel got some play over the week too. So,
he did.
High school forward out of Centennial, I believe. But no, if you go back to our conversations with both Idamar and with Coach, the Academy kids are going to get some play. They're going to get a look. And especially given Dennis's background, with working with academies, I think this is going to be a very good year for our Academy kids and for giving them opportunities to take that next step up. a lot of things to look forward to. Now, I'm bringing up the academy does bring up another point we mentioned a little bit ago. The U23s, is this step gone? I mean, they weren't in the announcement from the league.
Seems logical because I don't see
So
them switching leagues. Like they would stick with USL in theory, right?
we got clarification on this. Ron Patel, president of the club. I saw a post on Facebook from our buddy Andrew over in the chat. Ron did reply to that with a statement as it. So I'm just going to read his post. Oh, hi, Tinky. New host coming in hot. Ron says, while we have loved running the U23s for the last 3 years, we've made the difficult decision to put a pause on the program. I apologize if this is how you found out. I honestly didn't know that this announcement was happening today. This wasn't a decision we came to lightly. You know that I love lower league soccer. #SoulFamily. It's difficult to continue the program while we're working to fully fund the academy program, the first team, and fighting to get our stadium in place to secure the future of the club. The league, rightfully so, continues to professionalize USL League 2 more and more, which also made it more difficult to abide by all the league requirements, streaming of games, scoreboards, bleachers, lights, etc. Without our own facility, it became harder and harder. I appreciate so much how much you, also corporate partners and many other fans, have cared for the U23s, and I really look forward to the day that we can reignite that team. So, not going to be around. All of that makes perfect sense. Doesn't necessarily make it suck any less, but it does make sense. And I do believe that once we get our own place and they can have matches where they're not scrambling to find places for them to play and everything like that. Although I did like being able to go around the state with them. It seems like USL League 2 is kind of professionalizing it more, so they're not going to be able to do that as much anyways, even if they were around. And so it's tough, but
it makes business sense. And
yeah,
the club doesn't do things in half measure. So if they can't fully commit and kick ass at doing it, I can understand why they're deciding to just take a step back. And I agree. I think it's a for now thing. I think once they can finally get the stadium and you know, I believe in the club bringing a women's team and bringing back the U23, and they've also talked about doing the adaptive team. You know, they have big aspirations.
Yeah, I saw the post over on the Nation, and when I initially saw it, you know, it had been up for a little while, no comment from the club. And I did see Ron's statement. I figured this would give us an opportunity to bring that up, and I saw that after I got home. But it is disappointing because with the U23s, United was able to play around the state in different atmospheres, bring the club to every corner of the state, and get more people invested and involved. And that's not to say that they can't do it with the academy. That's not to say United couldn't potentially play elsewhere within the state. I mean, we do. Play in Rio Rancho. We do play at Mesa del Sol. We do play, out at UNM. So there are different facilities that the first team has played in. But yeah, I mean, it is a bit of a bummer. Obviously we've seen guys like Turi come through the U23s and take that step up into the first team. And so I agree, business sense, from a business aspect, it makes sense. Get the stadium in place, get a permanent home, then you can, promote and run as many events for all, at all three levels as you want. So yeah, I mean, I love Ron's statement. I love the inclusion of the Soul family in there. I love, just how much emphasis Ron puts on local soccer. Ron's been involved in the Albuquerque soccer scene for a long time. And, again, once we can, I'm sure the club will be happy to bring back the U23s and just continue to provide that additional pathway to pro, giving kids an opportunity, coming out of college or even in the college off season to play at the U23 level. So, I think it's, I do think we see it again. So, question over in the chat, Space Kid, do you think we'll be tempted to poach anyone from United?
I think he would have already. I feel like more the opposite, like he's sending people our way.
Yeah, I think if he was going to poach anybody, it would have been Hosu. So, or maybe Gloucester or Maples, but I mean, they like Christian just said, they get Lucho Acosta, who was an absolute stud for FC Cincinnati in his time there, and so I think they're aiming. Seems like they're aiming to be a little bit higher up the table than they have been recently, and not to say that somebody like Gloucester or Maples or Hosu couldn't help. I think they're just looking for a little different level of players at the moment, and so, but I think if we get players that continue to grow and continue to prove themselves, like if Maples comes and has enough. Yes, I see the pony. Thank you. If Maples continues,
pony, Jake.
I know. I'm sorry. If Maples continues to have a season like he had last year, then maybe I could see him getting a little bit of a call from Quill and stuff. But at the moment, I think we're pretty safe on that aspect.
And along the same lines too, if Coach Quill was going to do that, he probably wouldn't have loaned us players. I mean, they're sending people our way.
Well, I think that can be a two-way street, and we like the Itamar and the Sanchez conversations. Like we want climbers, right? So if we have now two coaches in the MLS ranks that the front office has relationships with, and players, head coaches that the front office has relationship with, that we can funnel people up that way towards, and those people want to climb and move up to a higher level, then I think we could definitely see Quill take a player or two from us if there's somebody that he fancies. It's just a matter of if he's. Oh, yes, yes. Thank you. You are wound up, girl. Yeah, you are. And so I don't see anybody taking off right now, but that lane is definitely open, I do believe.
Yep. All right. There wasn't a whole lot of other, match news. Obviously, we have, next preseason match next Saturday, the 22nd, back at home, down at Mesa del Sol, followed by the preseason finale, the following week. I apologize. The following week, March 1st against El Paso. In the meantime, though, I don't know if you guys caught this. The club didn't announce, at least not that I saw, but we have times. We have times for the regular season.
I don't know if I saw the club announce it, but I saw all the other clubs announce it. And so I went and looked and saw them. But we do have some times.
We do. We do have times for the regular season matches now. So go check that out. Make sure you're scheduling around those.
I do know the first match, the home opener against El Paso, is not a night match. It is an early afternoon match. And so that one was the one that stuck out to me, which is what they did last year against Pittsburgh, mainly because March can still get kind of cold and nasty here. And so that one is an afternoon match instead of an evening match. The rest seem fairly straightforward. There's a couple little weird ones in there, but yeah, like I said, go check it out.
I think I saw a 1 a.m.er.
A 1 a.m.er? Uh-oh.
Yeah, must have been a typo, but that's a pretty fun typo. Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, if we're playing at 1 a.m., I'm watching. I'm there. That'll be fun. David, can we make that happen? Can we do like a
Pajama night?
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun. So that's out there. Go make sure you've got your calendars updated. Make sure you have your plans set and made. Other than that, we did get a couple of emails from the club. First and foremost,
and social media posts, to be fair.
And social media posts, that is fair. Black Yellow Bash is back. Jacob, as you predicted, March 1st.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not taking any credit there. The writing was all over the wall. It is being moved back to Electric Playhouse, though. It was at Sandia Resort and Casino last year, and this year it will be back at Electric Playhouse, which I'm both excited for and confused by, because we had way more space at Sandia, and it was still pretty packed. And now we're going to go back to Electric Playhouse, where it was like sardines in there, and so definitely more to do and more to see in there. I'm excited for it's a little more intimate atmosphere, so I'm happy for that. But
I'm hoping that it is increasing the likelihood of a home kit announcement. I remember them dropping the video at the Black and Yellow Bash on all of the walls, and that was like really a super fun experience. So I'm crossing my fingers that, I mean, it's been a couple of years, so it's a perfect time to drop the kit. We know that the players were at Meow Wolf.
Yeah, there's 100%, in my opinion, we're 100% getting a new home kit. I would be absolutely shocked if that's not the case. We were told a few years ago that they were going to stop doing like all 3 kits at the same time, redoing all 3 of them at the same time. And so the Taos one was a new 3rd kit after the Electric Playhouse one the year before. And then, of course, last year, the Sandia kit replaced the Cultura kit. And so this year, I fully expect a new home kit. Whether or not they announce it at the bash or before the bash, yet to be seen. It does say kickoff 2025 with United. Meet new players. Special merchandise release. Immersive experience, free finger food, specialty drinks and bar, live DJ. So it does sound like you will get your wish there, Christina.
Hey, to answer, I like Andrew's thinking there with glow in the dark at the 1 a.m. match. I should clarify though, especially for David Carl, who I think is a little worried that there's a typo somewhere out there. I think that was for the pre-season match against El Paso where the typo was 1 a.m. So it wasn't for an official game. So we would not see the new home kit at 1 a.m.
I read it and just assumed it was 1 p.m., but I didn't look close enough to actually see. I skim everything, guys. I miss so many things because I just go, okay. But yeah, so Black and Yellow Bash. Will either of you be attending?
Potentially.
100%.
Good.
Maybe I should say 99%. 99%.
Will
see, David, even more of a reason to have glow-in-the-dark kits.
There we go.
Flashlights. All the fans will be there with their flashlights.
Mm-hmm. Will Mama Christina be there?
I'm sure she will, yes.
Yeah,
and
that's
Kelly.
all I care about.
Yep.
Cool.
They're missing the home opener, so they got to at least make the Black and Yellow Bash.
I hate it here, David Carlson. I think I'm gonna make it with my wife. That's the plan right now, anyways. Just like we did last year. And last year we had to take Maggie with us because she was still pretty young. But this year will be just the 2 of us, hopefully. It's either going to be just the 2 of us or all 6 of us. So who knows? Who knows what it's going to be like? I can't imagine, having been to one at Electric Playhouse last year. I cannot imagine, or 2 years ago, I guess it was. I cannot imagine trying to keep track of my 4 little ones in that dark, immersive experience place. So probably just going to be the 2 of us. We will find out.
All right. The other email that we got this week, and this one, I'm not sure if I saw it on social media or not. Supporter Summit coming up
also there
19th. I'm certain. Yeah, probably was. It's been a week. It's open enrollment at work, so it's a week. So Jacob, talk a little bit about the Supporter Summit, and looks like it's gonna be over at Sheehan Winery.
Yeah, that's what the post says. Like you said, February 19th, 6 p.m. So I went to the first kind of iteration of this back when Troy, where you got to ask him questions about this and that and the other, tactics, whatever. The post for this says the summit is an open forum, an opportunity for any and all supporters to interface directly with the club's leadership while hearing a preview of what's to come in 2020 in the 2025 season and beyond. This I probably won't make it to, unfortunately, but it is something that I'm super happy that the club does. I know the fans appreciate it, and I think that being able to have some open communication and some transparency and be able to have fans have the opportunity like we've had in the last couple of weeks to directly ask questions to Coach and Itamar and Peter and Ron. I'm assuming that's who's going to be there. Always a good thing. And I think that it gives guys like Justin and Josh and Andrew and Christian, well, Christian, not so much because you're in South Korea. But it gives them the opportunity to meet and introduce themselves. And it just builds that something's going on outside that my dogs are not happy about, to build that connection between fans and club.
So remind me, was this a replacement to Talking Tactics with Troy, or was this? Separate?
I don't think it was like a direct one-to-one replacement, but I think that's what it's turned into. Talking Tactics was only there for, I think, the first year. I think they maybe did it the second year one time. But then I know the Supporter Summit has been around for a couple years. I don't know if they did it last year, probably because Quill didn't like to interact with people. But I know it's been around in the past for sure.
Well, didn't they? I was thinking last year's was at Bios, but maybe that was the year before that. I could be wrong.
I don't know.
And I think they've I don't know if I'd say streamed it, but they've had it maybe on like Instagram Live or something where you could watch part of it.
Yeah, maybe. David Weisgeralt would do Supporter Summit every year. Yeah, I'll say I don't remember it specifically year one. I know that I was, I know the Talking Tactics with Troy out at what was it, Mesa? Not Mesa, over on the west side. I mean, that's where I met, I believe, David and RJ for the first time. And I know people were not particularly fans of me being there as media, thinking that things would get out. But yeah, I think the Talking Tactics only happened once or twice. I think 2020. Okay, so
is that like the breakfast with Coach?
Yeah,
thing that Troy did. Okay,
yeah. Talking Tactics that didn't. I think that happened like once or twice at most. That's what I was thinking. The Supporter Summit happened, like replaced it kind of.
Which I think Talking Tactics happened year one, and then the summit started in year two, like David said over in the chat. So I have not been to one, but that doesn't mean that I can't be happy that the club does it. So partially, I live 2.5 hours away. In February, I will be going to Media Day, of course, and then going to preseason matches, maybe both of them, hopefully both of them. So not sure I can convince everybody in the house to let me go to yet another thing in February that's United related. But
last year, she also had a screening of Underdog Uprising.
Yeah, that's right. I wanted to. I had kept checking to try to catch the replay of that podcast, but I don't know that it was ever actually recorded and posted. But it looked like a lot of fun.
I think that was
yes,
a
my cat.
Bring back the That's All Hot interview series.
That would be fun. What year was that?
The salsa?
Yeah, when they were eating the different levels of salsa.
That was when Frater came back, the year that Frater came back.
Yeah, Frater came back. So 22, I think it was, or 22 or 23.
23.
23, yeah.
23.
Maybe we should try to get them down here. We'll get that what's the hot ones kit.
Yeah.
See if we can get some folks to do that with us. I think that'd be interesting.
I will like it.
I mean, gosh. I mean, what do we have anything else? I mean,
I don't know if you guys have mentioned it, but I wanted to mention it. The Somos Unidas Foundation is hosting a league for all abilities with Top Soccer. Did you guys talk about that at all?
Not tonight.
No.
I mean, I feel like it's sort of a growth from the United in Our Abilities, where it's just like a one weekend clinic, which we're continuing again. Yay. But now it's expanded. to every Sunday from March 2nd to April 6th. So it's top soccer, amazing opportunity for kids of all abilities to play, but then also they're looking for buddies, they're looking for coaches. So trying to bring just the whole community together to support, kids of all abilities to get to enjoy the beautiful game.
Very cool. Very
David
cool.
Carl's gonna be coach.
Yeah, there we go. David, let me ask you, is there a way that we as a podcast can help sponsor this in some way? And I know we talked about it when the club announced it a few weeks back, but I'm glad you brought it up again. All throughout New Mexico, we do have kids that are in need, kids that are, have developmental disabilities, kids who are on different spectrums, and adults too, not just kids, and I think that this is, again, another really great program from the club to reach out to the community, to get involved, to bring the beautiful game to even more people than they already do. And I would love to see more folks get involved. Davies Carl, we need about 20 more buddies.
So the goal is 1-to-1. So one buddy paired with one player, and they can match age to age. But also, like, I'm going to be a buddy. So they'll accept anybody, of all ages, like Coach Sanchez likes to say, if you whatever his saying is, something about age and ability. So we can get as many people as possible. I don't think they would turn anybody away. And it's so much fun. It is so much fun seeing these kids just experiencing something that maybe they otherwise wouldn't have the opportunity to do. So super fulfilling as a buddy or as a coach. And the parents, it just is like lights their world getting to watch their kid participate in something and be included and growing in their confidence and their skill level and getting to meet the academy players and maybe the first team players maybe there. Super proud of the Somos Unidas Foundation for what they're doing.
See, it's things like this that's when I get sad that I'm no longer in the area, not being able to give a little more to stuff like that. And so that it's a bummer. I might try to make one weekend or something like that if I can. I don't know if I can do just one weekend as a buddy or if it's a month-long commitment, but that's definitely when I'm like, man, I wish that I could come back and do that. It's not like I have an X amount of trips that I can make back and forth necessarily. It's just other commitments and everything like that, and being 2.5 hours away makes it a little difficult. So I'm glad that they're doing it again. Christina, I'm glad you're a part of it. I'm glad you mentioned it again. We'll definitely get the word out that we need some more buddies out there, and we'll do what we can to support an awesome cause. It's one of the things that, like, when we talk about like the stadium project and stuff like that, and I have to read all the stupid comments about we don't need a stadium to put that much money into a stadium for a soccer team that's going to fold and this and that and the other. I wish people would just understand that, like, this club does so much more than just have a soccer team that plays 17 home matches a season, right? And there's so much more to it with the Somos Unidos Foundation and the academy and everything like that. And the bottom line is if we don't get a stadium, we will fold. I don't think that Peter and the club will let that happen. I think they'll move heaven and earth to try to make sure that doesn't happen in whatever way they need to do. But I believe, if I remember correctly, in 2019 when we joined, it was like you had 3 years to basically break ground on a stadium. Well, we're going into year 7. We've not broken ground. Granted, we have plans and everything like this. Oh yeah, Josh, don't even get me started. Didn't we vote no to this already? Anyways, not even going to go down that road. And so if they knew things like this, like, we're never going to get them to know every little thing that United does or every big thing like this that United does. But if they only knew that United's doing stuff like this, then maybe they would change their tune not that we need them to change their tune now, because there's not a vote coming up. It's a judge that, correct me if I'm wrong, David, but it's a judge ruling that we're waiting on, and then after that's over, we can break ground. And so we don't need their support in any way, shape, or form. I just get tired of listening to the whininess on social media, and then once it is built and it does exist, I don't want people to be bitter about it. I would rather them learn to embrace it. So maybe that's what it takes. Maybe it'll take the stadium being built and people seeing more and more of what we're doing on a bigger scale, because we don't have to share with Isotopes Park, and maybe we'll be able to host more cool events. Like I would love for this league that we're talking about now to be able to be hosted at said stadium on fields that we have there, around there. And then maybe people will actually open their eyes to that kind of stuff and see the stuff that goes on behind the scenes that I think that I've said for 7 years now is more important than the first team games. The first team games are what's going to get the publicity, and that's why we're here. But we're also here to push the cool stuff that's going on and the cool things that they do. And then I do like that the club is kind of like, hey, oh, thank you, Tinky. I appreciate you. I do like that the club is kind of like, hey, yeah, we do this stuff. We're not going to like put it out there and get like we're not seeking a bunch of praise for it. We're doing it because just doing it is a good thing. And so they're not, virtue signaling or anything like that. And so I appreciate that. But at the same time, if people knew about this stuff more, maybe they would be a little less apprehensive to things like the stadium and stuff like that. I'll step off my soapbox now.
It's such the thread just runs through the entire community of all ages. I mean, even the way that they incorporate the academy players, and it's not about the academy players and just soccer. It's about, empowering these young guys to learn and to experience new things and to grow from those experiences. And that's going to be what's going to catapult them up that ladder to whatever it is that they end up doing in life. And so it's just like David says, impact is everything. And that's one of the things of, why I love the club so much.
Christina, going back to Jacob's question he had a few minutes ago, saying he only has one weekend available he can help. Is that something that he can come out and do on that free weekend? Do you have to sign up for the full month? And where can people go and get more information about Top Soccer?
So if people just Google search Somos Unitas Foundation, it's right there on the front page of the foundation. It describes the whole program, and there's a place to register as a player or a buddy or a coach. That's probably where you can fill in the application. You can reach out to the foundation. I know Linnea is the point of contact that I have. I'd feel pretty confident saying that they're happy to take anybody's help, whether you can commit to the full month or just one weekend. It doesn't hurt to reach out and say, hey, I've got this weekend available. Can I come help? Maybe a buddy gets sick and can't be there,
right.
In which case you could step in and help with that. Or maybe it's just helping up with like setting up or tearing down or water.
I'm good at that. So
manning the gates so that no kids venture out into the parking lots, kind of stuff. Like all hands on deck kind of situation where the community can come together.
I'll go to the website and look into it for sure. And even if I can't do the buddy thing, I'll try to make it at least one of the weekends. I know I'll have to look at the dates. I know March I'm pretty booked up, but if one of them is the home opener weekend, and then I can maybe make a whole weekend out of that. But regardless of my situation, we just appreciate everything that's going on there, everything that they do. And Christina, that's one thing that I think, the fortunate incident of running into you at the LAFC match and then bringing that insight and you having that connection, and that not only connection, like, what's going on and the people, but that connection, like your heart's there. We can see that when you talk about it, we can see it in all the actions that we see from you in the club. And so just another reason why we're happy to have you on and hoping to continue to highlight that stuff throughout the year and throughout New Mexico United's existence as a whole, because we know that that's not going to stop. New Mexico United is never going to stop doing what they're doing with the Somos Unidos Foundation and everything like that. And so yeah, as Space Kid said, W's in the chat for Christina.
You know who else likes to say that? Gloucester.
Yes, and I want to let's go back to that. So Space Kid, I originally said Gloucester was overrated. He came in last year looking really slow and a little out of shape, and so I crapped on him quite a bit to begin last season. I will say he grew on me throughout the year, and he did win me over by the end of the year. He also had some moments there towards the end, like the playoff game, a couple of the playoff games. He had some dumb turnovers that I criticized him for, but I will do that. Even if you're the best player on the team, and like Hosu, as we know, I loved when he
Skyball.
yeah, when he had the penalty against Phoenix in the regular season matchup, I called him out for it. When he turned the ball over in bad spots, I called him out for it. So I'll call anybody out for a bad play. Gloucester had some bad plays there towards the end that I called out, but overall I thought he was a hell of a lot better at the end of the season. And I don't know if I would agree with David that he was arguably our best player, but he was a very impactful player towards the end of the season for sure.
You know who's high on Chris Gloucester the entire season? This guy.
Well, then you were wrong to begin the season, Seth. I'm sorry. You were just wrong to begin the season.
I saw things that I liked. I thought he did some really good things. And obviously, he did get stronger as the season went along. So always happy to see a player come out and do some things. Thank you, David.
You can't tell me that he wasn't a liability at the beginning of the year. He was. I'm not missing things.
I'll get behind you here, Jacob. I was razzing him too.
Thank you, Christina. Thank you.
I've done my fair share of razzing of Sergio. You know, when he'd come on and I'd be going like, "Oh no." I used to razz JOG Hamilton. You know, that's part of being a fan, right?
There we go. I know we are running out of topics and other things. I do want to shout out quickly Jake Gutierrez. I think he was in the chat earlier. Runs United by the Numbers. It is a forthcoming book that goes over New Mexico United, among other things. There's a live, let me make sure, all-time numerical roster of the club, among some other things that he's doing. Go check it out. Got a Substack, unitedbythenumbers.com. Please, go give him a look. Show him some support as well for that. So, yeah, it's been so much fun talking to you guys tonight. Do you guys have anything else to go over this evening? No. Okay. Looks like we're not going to get any comment from Maggie this evening. So, no.
It's fun seeing new faces, new names in the chat.
It is.
They're not new. I mean, it's people who are on social media, who I recognize, but it's just seeing them live during the episode is really fun.
Front. Yeah, I agree. Jake being over in the chat is a new name. Space Kid over in the chat, new name. Christian's a new name, but not a new person. And so, yeah, great to see. Space Kid, Thursday. Yes, Thursday. I will be going to Media Day. I will have content put out throughout that day. Some of it will be live. Some of it will be just videos after the fact. But I will definitely have some content. I'll try to get any info that I can on anything that we have questions about. And so, yeah, I will definitely be available on social media on Thursday for sure. And so I tried to get Christina and Seth to come, but it's Thursday during the middle of the day, so these things called jobs kind of get in the way. I'm lucky enough that I'm kind of off on weekdays because I work weekends, and so it allows me to go to things like this. But yeah, I will be there for sure.
So Tuesdays is podcast, Thursday is media day.
That's it. Jake, absolutely. You know, we love to talk about, you know, other folks in the nation doing things. And so, yeah, we're happy to help support you in any way that we can as well. So, yeah, I mean, guys, thank you all so much for being here. Any closing thoughts?
No, I think that's it. We covered it. There wasn't a whole lot of, well, I didn't think there was a whole lot of news, but man, we talked about a lot of things. I love this time of year for us being able to speculate on lineups and redacteds and all this stuff, and then kind of see where that leads. But yeah, I don't have anything else. As long as you guys don't, I'll get us out of here.
Nope, I think we're good.
All right. Christine and Seth, I want to thank you guys first and foremost. Without both of you, this would not be a pop-in chat room like it is. And so I'm not gonna acknowledge that. Again, David, I'm sorry. To David and Josh and Justin and Space Kid and Christian and Jake and my buddy William was over there. It was a lot of chat. I think I got everybody's name. I think that Andrew,
Harry.
Oh yeah. Team Jacob President Harry over in the chat. He started off with a SAFC post, and so that kind of threw me off. Melanie was over in the chat for the Super Bowl talk, not for soccer talk. Come on, step the game up. Step the game up. And so, yeah, thank all of you guys so much. We will, like I said, Chris Gloucester. Yeah, thank you, Chris Gloucester, content king over here. Like I said, keep an eye on socials on Thursday for Media Day content. And then we will be back next Tuesday. We'll have a preseason. We won't have a preseason match to talk about. Sorry. We'll be talking about Media Day and whatnot. We'll see if any other news pops between now and then. David, any news between now and then would be appreciated, David. And so, yeah, thank you guys so much. We'll be back next week, 8 o'clock, live right here on YouTube. And until then, somos niños. Love y'all.